It's time to get inside the Giants huddle.
Huddle up, huddle up, huddle up.
On Giants.com.
Here we go.
And the Giants mobile
Get
app.
them in there. Let's go.
Part of the Giants Podcast Network.
Welcome to the Giants Huddle podcast, brought to you by Citizens, the official bank of the New York Football Giants. My name is Madelyn Burke, alongside Howard Cross for a rapid reaction on the third and final preseason game of this 2023 season. The Giants took on the New York Jets. The Jets come away with a win, 32-24, in a game that saw Aaron Rodgers making his debut as the Jets quarterback, as well as newly acquired Isaiah Simmons making his debut for the New York Jets. Howard, what are your thoughts?
You know, I thought that Rodgers in the first series looked a little rattled. Wink Martindale's defense, they played zero coverage for the first plays of that series. They couldn't get anything going. Then after that, he comes back out, has a couple nice plays, throws a touchdown. So, 50-50, I guess you would say, for his debut.
I gotta let people behind the curtain too. This is such a rapid reaction. We are literally in the tunnel right outside, right off the field. So we're people are passing by and people are coming through. But yeah, so you say 50-50 is your immediate assessment?
Yeah, my immediate assessment. I think Isaiah Simmons, though, getting here, Thursday? Coming in on Thursday, already affecting the play. Coach asked him what did he like to do. He's like, I think at Arizona, he played some safety, he played drop linebacker, and they let him rush a little bit. He says, yeah, I like to rush. Coach says, let's let him rush. And you can see that kid look like he's shot out of a cannon coming off the edge. So great addition for the Giants. Wink Martindale must be so happy right now.
Yeah, got a lot of pressure. I think 5 pressures over there on the quarterback for Isaiah Simmons in the young, early stages. I'm sure he'll continue to grow and be incorporated into this team as he gets some practice reps under his belt, because as you mentioned, he's only been in the New Jersey area for a couple of days. But looking at what we saw from this Giants side too, obviously Tyrod Taylor got the start, only played a couple series, and then it was Tommy DeVito. A lot of guys trying to make an imprint, trying to make a roster. One guy who had a great game, though, David Sills.
David Sills did more than just a great game. When we think about receivers, we think about them catching the ball. David Sills had some great plays, great catches all over the field. Had a touchdown catch late in the game. In the running game, he was a key point of blocking to spring the second touchdown of the night. So he was big in that part of the game. The thing that's probably going to show even more is he played on special teams a lot. He played a lot in the return game, doubling the gunner on punt team, picking up guys on the kickoff return team. So that's great. But the thing that stood out to me most is how many reps he played. He played a ton of reps. They needed him to play a ton of reps. He did on the offense, and he would turn around, take a sip of water, and be right back out there on special teams. So that right there is a guy who's showed himself and will probably land on somebody's team if he doesn't make this one.
You're ready for a change. Payday comes early with Citizens, so go to that retreat. New you moves to the country. Now you're raising goats and launching a lifestyle brand. Are you ready for all that life brings?
Now, speaking of special teams, obviously special teams how you make a roster, but we saw a lot of veterans getting some special teams reps, especially in the punt return. Sterling Shepard back there returning a punt, Jameson Crowder back there returning a punt, Mickens as well. They were trying a few guys in that spot.
Well, you try a lot of guys because you don't really know. You can't have one returner. There's a lot of teams like, oh, this guy's our guy. He's going to be explosive. And the way the league works and the way things happen, you need a lot of guys to play a lot of positions. And sometimes you don't want to risk a guy as your returner. Last year, think about it, Dory Jackson went back to return just one kick for us. And he got tweaked and banged up and was out a few weeks. So you want a returner. You want a couple guys you can depend on, especially guys that can, quote unquote, catch and possess the ball. You don't want it on the ground when they're kicking it to you. Then after that, if they can get you one first down, it makes it special.
Yeah. One of the guys that we've seen doing a lot of the returning this preseason, Eric Gray, the rookie running back. We didn't see him back there today, but we did see him getting a lot of play in the running game, both running the ball and catching passes out of the backfield as well. As they continue to expand his role in this preseason, what are your expectations out of Gray?
I think he's going to be the returner. I think, what he's shown a lot, from preseason training camp and everything, that he's like really quick in small areas. Like the joke back in the day, because a lot of you guys aren't old enough to remember this, he could fake you out in a phone booth as to how quick he is. So, he's not got that explosive down the field. He's not going to outrun the entire field, but he'll make like 3 or 4 guys miss. He'll give you maybe 1, maybe 2, maybe 3 first downs. Somebody might catch him, but 30 yards here, 20 yards there. I mean, that's an effective returner and effective change of pace kind of back.
I mean, that's interesting, too. You did point that out, that a lot of our listeners might not even know what a phone booth is. For those of you who don't, we can rebrand the expression fake you out in an airplane bathroom, maybe? That's small? I don't know.
That's nasty.
I know. Well, phone booth, too. I don't know. I'm trying to conceptualize the size, which is tiny. But yes, that is a great way to describe the guy. But in talking about the run game, we'd be remiss not to bring up the offensive line. And in the guard rotation, and we saw Matt Parrott, who's gotten a lot of run tonight. We see him getting a lot of run in practice as well. As we see those competitions essentially for those swing tackles continue to escalate in the preseason. Where does that stand in your eyes?
Well, we'll start with the guard. I think Izudu, I think Bredman and Lewinsky, I think those guys kind of are going to be the guys, and what you said is true, the rotation. There hasn't been two guys that stand up and say, I'm the guy. Bredesen got to play tonight at center as a backup to the John Mike Smiths because they wanted him to, not be the only center, so they could make sure that there was another guy that they could count on that was a veteran that could step in if needed be. But the other 2 or 3 guys that are playing that position guard really haven't set themselves apart yet. So I'm hoping that there will be some rotation going on over the next few weeks of the season, trying to find the right combination of the right 2 guys that want to play, or not want to play, they can play and be dependable from the first snap to the last snap. As far as other veterans that made, like Jihad was out, Hadi was out there. He got a few reps. You were talking about Matt Pert. I don't know. And I like Matt Pert. I want Matt Pert to make the team. But I don't know. In the run game, he looks dominant. He looks big. He looks explosive. In the pass game, I don't know if he doesn't get some of the protections down. I don't know what's happening. He's getting beat off the edge from time to time. And that's hard. And you're kind of dependent on him as the backup left tackle. And you need that guy to be a lot better. Not some better, a lot better than that.
And one of the things that head coach Brian Dable has said is that he's not shying away from the idea of having a rotation on that offensive line. I think a lot of coaches or a lot of teams say that we need to have our 5 set, and that's what it is, the continuity. But, I mean, we saw the rotation a bit last year, too. That can be beneficial, no?
Yes and no. I think that it can be beneficial because you can run certain schemes with certain guys, but after you do it twice, it's on film, people start to follow it. I think it gives them, spells them, so it makes them more anxious to play. What I mean by anxious, a higher motor when they get in. They're more aggressive because they're trying to prove that, okay, maybe I may not make it if I keep going back and forth. But continuity is kind of important, but having 2 guys or 1 guy that you can count on no matter what, also very important.
You love turf. You're good at it. So you start a turf biz. Business grows, your savings grow. Become the most celebrated name in turf. Are you ready for all that life brings?
Yeah, also very important. Now, when we talk about guys you can count on, the rosters are going to be, roster cuts are coming in just a couple of days. We're about a little over 2 weeks away from the first game of the season. The Giants taking on the Cowboys September 10th on Sunday Night Football. But first, of course, Tuesday, August 29th is cut down day when the roster will go from 90 to 53. You think that one first cut is the big cut, but of course, after that 90 to 53 cut, then hits the waiver wire, and there will be more transactions and more people added and subtracted from this roster. For these players in the locker room, for the fans out there, what are you expecting to see, or how would you describe what this process is going to be like?
I mean, we have a very smart group of guys, and it's just with Joe, Shane, and his whole crew, from every scout in the scouting department, or every guy in the personnel department, they are scouring the countryside looking for players. And when I think about what could happen, I think about, Darren Waller showing up. I think about Paris showing up. I think about Okereke showing up.
Isaiah.
I think about Simmons walking through the door 2 days ago and looking explosive. So there are going to be some guys that are going to be out there that we're not even thinking of, that they're looking at. They've already got their eye on, and they've already earmarked. So that's why you have to play as well as you can, because the first cut that gives you 53 is not the final 53. And they're constant movement, especially in the first 3 weeks of the season.
Yeah. It's going to be a tricky next couple of days. Of course, the Giants won't be practicing tomorrow. Head coach Brian Daboll will be available to the media for Zoom, and of course, that'll be covered on Giants.com and all Giants platforms. Monday, the guys will have the day off, and then Tuesday will be cut day, followed by a practice. I'm sure nerve-wracking, emotional couple days. Do you remember what it was like for you as a player going through that chapter?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like you're showing up your rookie year. You're trying to do everything you can to make sure you make it. Then you walk in the locker room, and a guy walks around. They used to call him the Turk, and the Turk would walk around and like, "Hey, could you bring your playbook? Coach wants to talk to you." It's like really, really, really emotional, really hard. It depends on where you are from the country, where you are from in the country. If you've played football since the age of 7, 8 years old, like you've probably played tackle football since you're almost 9 or 10. So you played football since you're 10 years old. For the next 11 years you've played. So if it's not that 11 years or 12 years, it could be 15 years of football. And you're about to be, unfortunately, cut off from your dream. Part of your identity is kind of gone. So that's kind of tough for guys, especially early on in their careers. Emotionally, after they get released, the coach is emotional. He tries to do things in that first practice to get things going. Some guys that are going to get released will be veterans. So that's emotional. So it's not just the rookies. The coaches have their picks. They're emotional about why come my guy didn't make it? So it's a lot of things. And they push guys a little harder because they wanted, quote unquote, they wanted their guy to make it. It's going to be, a little crazy, but at the same time, turn the page real quickly because you got the Cowboys coming to town, and you got to be ready for that group.
Absolutely. And this group will be ready for the Cowboys. I do believe that the way that Joe Shane and this front office is focused in on building the best roster to take on Dallas in week 1. And for the players that do get cut, whether it's on Tuesday on cut day or in the coming days with waiver wires, there are 31 other teams in the National Football League, and that's what these 3 preseason games are for, is putting that best film out there to show not just this team, but the league what you're capable of.
That's why that was their last audition.
Yeah.
So that's hopefully you put it out there.
Yeah, exactly. Leave it all on the field, quite literally. And that's a wrap for us in this Giants Rapid Reaction podcast. The Huddle is brought to you by Citizens, the official bank of the New York Giants. From game day to every day, Citizens is made ready for Giants fans with insights, guidance, and solutions. Learn more at citizensbank.com. Giants fans love a winner. It's why they love Citizens, named a 2022 Best Bank in the U.S. by The Banker. As the official bank of the Giants and sponsor of The Huddle, Citizens is made ready for fans of Big Blue. Learn more at citizensbank.com. For Howard Cross, I'm Madelyn Burke. That's a wrap on your rapid reaction in the wake of the third and final preseason game.